Now at 10, the latest on a school shooting in St. Louis, killing 3 and injuring several others. Plus, how the Parsons Police Department is ramping up their nighttime patrol. And the Riverton Rams volleyball team prepares for their upcoming state championship game.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Rain at last. The 4 states finally got a much needed soaking, and more rain could be on the way. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Dow Quick. Doug Heddy joins us with our first look at the weather.
Yeah, we got a good widespread moderate to heavy rain across the region. Really kind of moved in mid-morning, and then the heaviest batch has just pushed out the past couple hours, but more is to come. Prior to the rain, 74, and then of course we've been dropping since that point in time. Rainfall, at least at the airport in Joplin, 1.64 inches, which puts us at 1.83 for the month of October so far, but there were some areas that picked up 2, 3, 3.5 inches of rain from this big batch of showers, even a few thunderstorms that has rolled through during the daytime hours for us today. Heaviest now towards Springfield, a little bit of a break, building back in central Oklahoma, southern parts of Oklahoma, and this is all going to spread northeast into the region after midnight tonight. So we're going to break all that down for you coming up here in just a bit.
All right, we'll see you then. Another deadly school shooting, this time in St. Louis. One teacher and a 16-year-old student died and several others were injured. The gunman, a former student, was killed by police at the school. Investigators searched his car and home today as they look for a motive. Reporter Naomi Ruckham has details.
Students fled their classrooms, arms raised high, after a gunman killed 2 people at Central Visual and Performing Arts High School in St. Louis.
I heard 4 gunshots. I also heard a scream, and then later on, when I was getting rushed out by St. Louis Police Department, I saw a dead body with blood everywhere.
Authorities say the gunman, a 19-year-old who graduated last year, had no prior criminal history. Officers engaged him 12 minutes after the active shooter call came in.
Everyone who survived here is going to take home trauma. Even the officers who responded here, and the firefighters and the paramedics who worked on people here.
Police Chief Michael Sachs said the doors to the school were locked, but didn't say how the gunman got inside.
The fact that the door did cause pause for the suspect, that bought us some time.
Freshman Raven Terry's friend came face to face with the gunman.
The shooter came to her and said, "You ready to die?" And just see her just screaming and crying, and it was just hurt me.
According to Education Week, there have been 40 school shootings this year that resulted in at least 1 injury or death. Scott Pullman's granddaughter texted him while in the school.
And it's just absurd that this happens over and over and over again. And we got to change something in this country.
Teacher Jean Kirch-Kutchka died at the hospital. Her family says she passionately raised money for diabetes research.
She was just the sweetest lady. She was always the sweetest lady.
A vigil was held Monday night for the victims. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
School officials say there were 7 security guards in the building at the time. The police chief believes they were not armed. The Neosho, Missouri Police Department's investigating after 2 people were found dead inside their home. Police received reports of a dead man and woman at the 1000 block of Stratford Place. They found 87-year-old Charles Barnett and 78-year-old Donna Barnett, both dead. They also found a gun. They say Charles Barnett likely killed his wife and then himself. A man who was set to stand trial for the murder of his wife in northeast Oklahoma today instead changed his plea to guilty. John Hackathorn shot his 60-year-old wife, Mary Hackathorn, 4 times at their home in Delaware County in November of 2020. Court documents say the two had been arguing over their ranch property. A judge today sentenced Hackathorn to life in prison for first-degree murder. A Southwest Missouri woman who was bonded out on a murder charge and fled is now back in custody. Authorities say 49-year-old Dawn Wynn was arrested for the suspected shooting of her husband Harold Wynn back in November of last year. She was given a reduced bond of $100,000 surety, which means she paid 10% of it. They say she was out on bond when she disappeared after saying she was suicidal, but a warrant was issued which revoked her bond. She was found in Indiana, where U.S. Marshals took her back into custody. Authorities have released the name of a pedestrian killed in a Saturday morning crash in Joplin. They say 24-year-old Andrew Dodson of rural Joplin was struck by a car on Main Street near the campus of Ozark Christian College. During the investigation, a motorcycle was found in the area of Zora Street and Main Street. That motorcycle belonged to Dodson. Investigators believe he had previously run off the road near the exit ramp and crashed in the ravine. He was on foot when he was hit by a car. Dodson died at the scene. The driver of the car is cooperating with the investigation. The city of Parsons has stepped up their nighttime enforcement due to an increase in calls and suspicious persons and activity during night. KOAM's Yana Hautala spoke to officials about the change.
Overnight calls for suspicious activity have increased in Parsons, Kansas. Even while short-staffed, the Parsons PD is proactive, adding more officers on the night shift.
It's already turned in some real benefits. Just recently we had a very significant drug arrest of a well-known habitual interstate felon who was armed and had a significant load of narcotics on him in the middle of the night.
Chief Robert Spinks says making traffic stops can easily get criminals like this caught.
Going to necessarily prevent or arrest every criminal, but if we can make it uncomfortable for criminals to do their business here in our community, well, some of those are going to go away.
Chief Spinks and his officers emphasize communication between residents and police to keep the city safe.
The people that are out at night doing crimes are usually at home during the day sleeping, or some even have jobs they go to. And they take advantage of the nighttime because they don't think people pay attention at night.
We took a ride with Officer Sherry McQuire to find out what she's seeing on the streets. McQuire says the number of people riding bicycles stealing from properties is on the rise. And if you see something, say something.
They will be arrested, and then the owner of the property can identify it. And once they identify it, it can be photographed and then released back to them so it doesn't have to go into evidence.
Chief Spinks says there is a high level of poverty and people who have mental issues in Parsons, which can lead to increased criminal activity.
People who are poor or economically disadvantaged are necessarily, bad in any way, but, they're in a position that puts them, in contact with, other folks that might be bad.
With the community support and a bigger presence on the streets, the Parsons PD hopes to lower crime rates in the city.
Like a lot of police departments, the Parsons PD is short-staffed and working 12-hour shifts. They're getting new workers once they complete their training. An update to a story we first brought you on KOAM News at noon. The Jasper County, Missouri Sheriff's Office had been looking for a missing 22-year-old woman with autism. Tonight, authorities say they found her and she's safe. A new amendment might be coming to the Missouri Constitution. Amendment 5 would create the Missouri Department of the National Guard as an administrative department within the state's executive branch. As of this year, the Missouri National Guard is part of the Missouri Department of Public Safety, but not all voters are convinced a change is necessary.
I'm trying to think of what the advantages would be of being able to have direct access to National Guard and if there's potential to abuse that. And I really don't know either way.
I definitely don't have a strong opinion because I haven't thought about this before, but on first glance it sounds fine because sometimes I can see the use of it. For example, I'm not from around here, but from what I've seen with Joplin, it definitely would have been nice to have a quicker response time. Seems like it really destroyed the city, at least temporarily,
The proposal will appear on Missouri's November 8th ballot. Coming up, officials and a hiker provide safety tips for hiking after a weekend rescue near Branson. Plus, the Allen County Regional Hospital in Iola, Kansas celebrates their newest addition. First responders in Taney County, Missouri rescued an injured hiker over the weekend on a lakeside forest trail in Branson. Madison Horner has more on the prep work that goes into these types of calls and some hiker safety reminders.
Branson Battalion Chief Josh Boehm says the hiker suffered a medical issue at the bottom of a trailhead. What made the rescue difficult was that the hiker was located at the base of about 200 steps that zigzag back and forth up a hill.
Our best option was a simple rope system to lower the patient down off of a little short cliffside and then into our water rescue boat.
Firefighters then used the boat to take the patient upstream to the Cooper Creek access, where Taney County Ambulance District paramedics treated the patient and transported the hiker to a local hospital. Baim says firefighters spend time each year updating pre-plans for all parks and hiking trails in the city, with a focus on identifying access points to safety assist lost or injured hikers.
So our tools really change a lot. We use Stokes baskets, rope systems, GPS units, because it's really hard to articulate where you are, particularly if people go off trail.
Branson visitor Rochelle Stecker loves to hike, but when visiting new places, she says researching the different trails is key to staying safe.
I look on All Trails. There's an app of All Trails. I use that all the time in every place I go.
Stecker says it's also important to understand each trail's level of difficulty before starting your hike.
Some of the stairs were really steep, so we had to pace ourselves because you don't want to run so fast and go so fast and then get wore out, get dizzy, and then fall.
One of the biggest takeaways is this is a recreation area, a wooded area that's right in the middle of the city limits, and people view that as I'm not out in the remote wilderness, but you kind of are.
Baim says hikers are encouraged to hike in pairs, have plenty of water, and a cell phone to call for help if needed.
The Allen County Regional Hospital in Iola, Kansas is celebrating their newest addition. The hospital hosted a ribbon cutting and open house for the new specialty clinic, which offers specialists in areas including general surgery and podiatry. Visitors were also able to get a tour of the newly remodeled space.
Well, I think that the biggest benefit of this clinic is the opportunity that's going to give the community to get care close to home, plus the growth opportunity that it's going to give us as an organization to be able to expand our services and treat our patients here at home.
The clinic offers 10 specialty options. Folks in Grove, Oklahoma got a chance to be some of the first people to watch a new movie featuring a local actress. The movie is called Mind Reader. It takes place in the 1970s and is about a man who performs a mind-reading act and rouses the anger of the local Magicians Association. One of the actors is from Carthage and was at the premiere.
Yeah, so I live in Carthage, Missouri, which is phenomenal that I get to live in my small town USA and I get to do what I love doing. Luckily with the internet being what it is, I get to travel to different places and participate in different movies and share that with the community. So
that movie is currently being shown only privately in theaters. A little bit later, we're going to hear from the Riverton Rams as they prepare for the Class 3 State Volleyball Championship.
Plus, we have more rain that is working in later on tonight. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, it definitely turned out to be a wet day for us today, which we needed. We haven't had a moderate to kind of heavy widespread rain event for quite some time, so it was nice to have it, and most areas picked up at least an inch of rain, which is good news. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort Indigo, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Still wet. The roads are going to stay fairly wet for the next couple hours, and then more rain is going to work in later on tonight. You can see the big batch working through over the past 12 hours, kind of really got going mid-morning, had some embedded little thunderstorms within that batch. But now all the heavy rain really from Springfield over toward Branson. So most of us are dry for now, but we have another batch building out across central Oklahoma down through southern Oklahoma. And this is the main upper level wave, the main storm system that is going to head toward us and give us more rain later on tonight and then through the morning hours on Tuesday. Heaviest rain where you see the brighter greens here showing us on average 2 upwards to 3 inches in Missouri, Arkansas, down through Delaware County. And then once you get out through our central counties in Kansas, about an inch and then about a half an inch in our far northwestern counties. But thankfully more rain to come. Still the roads look fairly wet. 7th and Rangeline 55, northerly winds at about 10. Humidity is up there, nearly 90%. For the rest of the overnight, 54 here shortly at 11:50 by 7 a.m. You can see the rain starts to pick back up. In fact, we drop into the 40s as we go through the morning hours for us tomorrow. Look at this big storm system. Stretches from Minnesota all the way down through parts of Texas where they're getting severe weather eastern parts of Texas. And then this little curl right here, that is our main upper level wave that is going to track right over us or just south of us, giving us more rain later on tonight. So let's break down the next 24 hours. Here's 1 a.m. Light rain starts to spread back in, where you see the yellows, kind of moderate to heavy rain, maybe a few embedded little thunderstorms in our far southern counties. Here's 5 a.m. periods of showers through the morning hours, just kind of a glance blow right across from Chanute, Fredonia up toward Yates Center. You're not going to get much. Everybody else south and east of that point will get the showers through the morning hours. By 1 p.m., most of this is rotating out of here. A little bit of sunshine by the evening, but look at our temps. We're only sitting into the low to mid 50s, and then we bottom out down into the upper 30s later on tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. So our rain chances, here's 1 a.m., here's 2 a.m. Each hour, they start to go up after midnight, and then they'll start to trail off by the time we get to about noon tomorrow. Additional rainfall, ½ an inch, upwards to an inch. Along and south of I-44, the farther northwest you live, the lesser amounts we are going to get. 50 at 7, look at this, 48 by noon, and then we rebound back into the mid-50s with a little bit of sunshine for us tomorrow evening, but kind of a raw, cold day. 64 Wednesday, 66 Thursday, a few random showers as we head into the weekend. Most of those are going to be in our southern counties. We kind of sit into the 60s. Halloween looks pretty good. 66, partly sunny and dry, which the trick-or-treaters probably want.
Oh yeah, no one wants to wear a raincoat over their costume or have an umbrella. Mom and Dad going along
Absolutely
don't
not.
want to either. You don't want that candy bag to get soggy. Thanks, Doug. Hey, I want to take a moment to congratulate Doug and our digital content producer, Stacy Strader, for their achievements at the Kansas Association of Broadcasters Awards. They both won first place for Best Forecast and Best Website, respectively. Some nice awards there. Again, our congratulations. Still ahead, rivals meet in the district championship game, and the Riverton Rams prepare for a return to the state tournament. Danny Terzer has that and more up next.
The Riverton Rams are sub-state champions and will compete for the state title for the third year in a row. The Rams are 37-2 this season and have earned the 2 seed for this weekend's state tournament. Riverton is both experienced and motivated. Last year at state, the Ram season came to an end after day 1, and they've been working hard for months to have another shot at the title.
I think just believing that, we are a state contender and no one can tell us anything otherwise. We missed it last year by 2 points in the third set against Beloit. I think having that remembrance too, and like you were this close. You had 2 plays in front of you to make, and use that to fuel you. Use that to fuel you to get to that second day.
Over in Missouri, today is the Class 4 District 6 semifinals. Webb City and Carl Junction both won their matches in straight sets, so it's the Cardinals and the Bulldogs in the final. The title game is tomorrow at 6 p.m. Then in the Class 2 District 11 tournament, 1-seeded Lamar and 2-seeded Diamond meet in the championship today. Great match. Diamond pulls out the 5-set win. The Wildcats earn a spot in the state tournament for the 2nd straight year. Fort Scott closed out the regular season with a statement win on Friday. The Tigers' 50-44 win over Field Kinley in double overtime is voted the performance of the week. The Tigers trailed by as much as 16 points on Friday and still pulled off the comeback win. Lennox Van connected with Ty Marbury late in the 4th to tie the game and force overtime. Later, he found Colton Rogers for the game-winning touchdown. Van finished with 159 rushing yards and 6 total touchdowns. Fort Scott ends the regular season with a 2-6 record. They'll face undefeated Atchison in the first round of the playoffs. The Kansas City Chiefs returned from San Francisco with a big win. The 49ers entered Sunday's game with the #1 total defense in the league, but that didn't really make a difference. Patrick Mahomes threw for 423 yards and the Chiefs put up 44 points. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Travis Kelce all had right around 100 receiving yards, and McCole Hardman scored 3 touchdowns. Kansas City is now 5-2, heading into the bye week.
You don't want to go out, have 2 losses going into the bye week, and so we knew this was an extremely important game. And I thought the guys accepted the challenge, especially how we started, and responded and went out there and found a way to get that win. But when you look back on it, you're 5-2 and you're first in the AFC West. You can't ask to be in a better position. So now we have to kind of recalibrate, get off our feet, get our bodies back, and then learn. Because when we come back to this next stretch, we're going to be ready to go and try to make a push to get to the playoffs and then try to get to the Super Bowl.
You know, having a bye week really makes a difference if you're coming off of a win or a loss, because you've got a lot of time to think about that. They turned on the afterburners yesterday, and they're looking good.
Right, and for the Chiefs, it could have been coming off 2 llosses. So like Patrick said, this was a really big game to put them in good position.
Big difference between 5-3, or 5-2, or 4-3.
Right.
We'll be right back. Take time now to honor a local veteran. Matthew Everly served in the U.S. Army from 2005 to 2015. His hometown, Chanute, Kansas. And we're proud to salute Chief Ward Officer 3, Matthew Everly, a 4-state hero. Boy, we were glad to get some rain today. In some cases, quite a lot of rain. And some of us, at least, could be getting some more tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to get more showers working in here after midnight tonight. Through the first half of the daytime hours tomorrow, a little bit of sunshine late, but a high of only 55, down to 39 tomorrow night.
Final sports notes.
The Diamond Wildcats have some more volleyball to play. They win the district tournament today, so they will compete in the state tournament.
Thanks for joining us. Morning show starts at 5 a.m. Let's make it a great tomorrow.